Hi, welcome back to the Med Student Notes. I'm going to be making a 4-part series on hypersensitivity where we talk about each type of hypersensitivity. And it's going to be a quick review, but also I'm going to keep it quite comprehensive. So it should give you everything that you need to know. Let's talk about type 1 hypersensitivity first. Now, imagine that you annoyed a bee. The first thing that's going to happen is when the bee stings you, it's going to let some venom into your skin. In the skin, we have antigen presenting cells called dendritic cells. These cells are going to take up the antigen, which is the venom, and present them on their surface with the help of an MHC class 2 molecule. Then they will travel to the local lymph node where they interact with a CD4 T cell. CD4 T cell is going to have a T cell receptor and it is going to have CD28 molecule. The dendritic cell, on the other hand, is going to have your MHC class 2 molecule which presents the peptide and also a B7 molecule. Two interactions need to happen. First is the MHC class 2 and peptide complex with the T cell receptor. B7 and CD28 will interact. With the help of these two interactions, which are co-signals, and the influence of an IL-4 interleukin, the CD4 T cell is going to differentiate into a Th2 T cell. Another thing that's going to happen is this antigenic peptide is also going to travel to the local lymph node and it will be taken up by another antigen presenting cell, which is your B cell. Now, this B cell also presents this on an MHC class 2 molecule. And guess what happens now? This B cell will interact with this Th2 molecule. The B cell will have a CD40 and the Th2 cell will have a CD40 ligand. This interaction will cause what is known as class switching. Now, normally your B cell by default will carry IgM, but when this class switching happens, again under the influence of IL-4, IL-5, 13 also is included, but definitely remember IL-4 and IL-5. This B cell will become a B cell that class switches to something that produces IgEs instead of IgMs. So this B cell will now produce IgE antibodies. These IgE antibodies will go and stick onto cells called mast cells. So a bunch of these IgE antibodies will go plant themselves onto mast cells. This is the sensitization phase, where essentially your immune system has primed itself to this particular antigen. Now let's see what happens upon re-exposure. Let's say after a few days, you have managed to get caught in the wrath of another bee, and this one stung you too. This time, you already have a primed immune system with mast cells and Ig receptors on them. For a reaction to happen, the bee venom or whatever the antigen is in any other case has to interact with a couple of IgE antibodies at once, not just one. It has to interact with a couple of IgE antibodies. Now, this is the FAB end of the antibody and this is the constant end, right? Just to remember. When this happens, it's called cross-linking. And when cross-linking takes place, the mast cell undergoes something called degranulation. That means it releases and forms some mediators. In the immediate phase, immediately upon this cross-linking, histamine is released. Histamine is already preformed and sitting in these mast cells. Leukotrienes are made quickly and released. So histamine is preformed. This is the immediate reaction. There's also something called the late reaction, which happens within 4 to 24 hours. This is more of an inflammatory cell dominated picture. Predominantly, eosinophils arrive under the influence of again IL-4, IL-5. Now, because of these substances, because of your histamine, your leukotrienes, your inflammatory cells, even prostaglandins, you see your allergic reaction. This is essentially the manifestation of hypersensitivity type 1. When this happens locally and you see redness, stinging, itching, when this happens locally, it's a local allergic reaction. If it happens systemically, like mast cells all over are activated, and there is bronchoconstriction, shortness of breath, because you're unable to breathe because of the effects of histamine, leukotrienes, all of this. And in fact, because of the effects of all of these cells and in anaphylaxis, vasodilation happens, which can lead to shock, your anaphylactic shock. And that's how hypersensitivity type 1 can lead to different manifestations in varying levels of intensity. So, your main examples for hypersensitivity type 1 are anaphylaxis and allergy, allergies to food, pollen, dander, bee stings, whatnot. So, this was hypersensitivity type 1. I hope it was quite clear and you understood. If you did like the video, please do support it by engaging more with it. And thank you. I'll see you in the next video with the other types of hypersensitivity reactions. Bye bye. Wish you a great day.